Philip Brice, this AGM is about anticipating the future, the risk management for long-term planning. It's addressing the views on the future landscape of both societal and commercial risk. Now, can you talk about that from the energy perspective?
I think any change in society's requirements for energy, any change in our ability to find and to produce energy are all long-term. Our assets are long-term, our exploration is long-term. The needs of countries and the needs of the people are long-term. So it is the long-term inevitably that we spend our time looking at.
And that long-term inevitably has risk attached to it?
Absolutely. There are short-term risks which extend into the long-term. What price will oil be at? There are longer-term risks like what will culture require of us? What will people expect in terms of their energy supply and their energy need? On top of that, obviously, for the sort of timescales we're talking about here, there are all the political risks. But in the end, there is clearly a long-term need for energy, and that will reduce some of the overall risk for us.
In what way?
If we can produce energy, there will be people who want it. Clearly, we have to produce it in ways that fit within society's requirements. We have global warming issues that we need to take into account. We have environmental issues that we need to take into account. But so long as we can overcome those, there will be a market for us for quite a while to come.
From the conversations that you've heard so far, do you draw any comfort that some of these issues are going to be sorted out?
I think in the end they have to be sorted out. We are not going to go back to the caves. What is helpful, we were talking this morning, some of the lectures about the last 500 years of European history. The more it changes, the more it's the same. There have always been issues and risks. They do eventually get overcome. The challenge is to make sure you pick them up early enough and you apply yourself to be the ones who overcome them. They will be overcome, not necessarily by the incumbents.
You talked a few moments ago about short-term and long-term investments and the risks attached to both of those. We're in strapped for cash times. How do you identify the areas for long-term investment?
If you are an oil company, you really have no choice. You need to understand the risks. You probably need to be more creative in understanding how you can diversify those risks, how you can spread them, how you can survive some of the risks coming and hitting you while still maintaining a good, solid production of energy and satisfying the needs of people.
That's the issue, isn't it? Satisfying the needs of people. Can you share your views on whether you will be able to meet the needs of people? And that really is defining risk, future risk.
I think I have to, partly because of my background and where I am. I've spent the last 30 years in the oil industry. The industry has had its interesting moments. Actually, when I look at the risks to the oil industry, they don't appear to be huge at the moment. There are a lot of intelligent people. There's a big pile of money that comes from satisfying people's needs. A lot of innovation. People will find ways around these problems. So yeah, I'm confident that the industry as a whole and the energy industry as a whole will overcome these in the long term.